click so that you mute the tab.
Okay. Woohoo.
Okay, we are live on LinkedIn and I already see people filtering in. And Melissa, yes, I see that you were able to connect your LinkedIn. So yay, hopefully that means even more friendly faces joining us today. And I think Monica is en route and will be coming. Yes, will be coming at some point. But I'm so excited. We missed a month because it just like did not work in any of our calendars. Did we miss September, right, for Labor Day? Or was it October? What year?
It was
October.
like Halloween.
It was totally Halloween. You're so right.
We missed the most magical one because we were just like off doing witchcraft.
we were off doing witchcraft. And I really missed like having this time to gather.
Well, I'm jealous that y'all got to see each other and the video you did, the TikTok trend. I was like, it's the best thing you've ever done. It's amazing.
Immediately, I was like, Melissa, can we please put this on LinkedIn? And of course, she was like, yeah.
Absolutely. No hesitations.
I thought that my hook was very, very funny. I'm a very important person doing very important business things. And it seems like it's finding the right audience of other people that appreciate like a quirky, silly little Friday post.
Yes. And it was fun. Although we only did one take when we did that. And after I watched it, I was giggling so much, but I was like, damn, I should have went harder. And I was like, I could have stepped it up a little bit more. I really could have like brought more energy to it because Leslie's energy was top notch. Like, especially when you come back around and she was still in character. Like, I was like, oh, she crushed it. So next time I want to do more fun TikToks like
and
that.
then I absolutely cracked as I heard Chris like crash into the chairs on the side as he was trying to do a full circle.
Yes.
The life of a TikTok husband.
I know. That was fun. Melissa also got me a cake. And so I've been eating a slice of cake a day. So thank you and also fuck you.
Yeah. Can you say that on here?
Yeah, I think we can say whatever we want. What are they going to do? Kick me off?
I don't know. LinkedIn's tough. Okay. LinkedIn's a tough place.
They're tough. I think we're friends though. I think.
Hi.
We were just talking about how Melissa bought me a cake. And
no.
How sweet it was. But yes, Meg, I got to see Melissa this month. I got to see Monica last month twice. So we are like very overdue for seeing each other. And I don't know, where am I going to have to wait until February?
And I get to see Meg in like a week.
Yeah. A week.
Yeah.
She's coming back to Mexico City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be really fun.
Join us.
So jealous.
Yay.
Where are you going to be?
What?
Sorry?
Where are you guys going to be?
We both live in Mexico City. Well, I live there half the year and Meg
right.
lives there all the year.
Yeah. Because you have your house there. That's right.
But then she leaves me for half of the year when the weather's bad.
I know.
So
I know.
Rude.
Did I tell you guys that I'm moving there full time next year?
Yeah.
So that I'm not leaving half of my community at any given time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you have to come. We do a witches retreat in.
Yeah, I really want to do that.
Yeah, come to Sales Witches.
Yeah.
Monica.
Sales Witches plus Colin.
Obviously, plus Colin, or wizard. Sales Witches plus one.
Plus wizard.
Yeah. Wizard. Your background is giving fancy airport lounge.
Yeah.
It is a fancy co-working space. I'm at SAA today.
Oh, fun. Are you still in Florida?
I came. Am I still where?
in Florida?
No.
Weren't you just in Florida?
Yes, I came back this morning. I came straight here. My suitcase is over there by the coat rack because I'm talking to you guys, and then immediately after this, I have a personal training session at the gym here, and then I'm working for the rest of the afternoon. So I was like, better to just go there, and then I'll bring all my stuff home at the end of the day. It's a packed day, packed week. Like I think, like my clients never take any time off, so it's like difficult. It's not difficult, but it's like I'm very much like on their schedule, and like right now I feel like everybody is just running at like full speed. Everyone that I'm working with is hiring or like preparing to hire. They're making like changes on the team. They're like it's not a it's definitely a sprint mode for like everyone right now, it feels like. And I'm also getting tons of people booking calls, which makes me feel like there's like booking calls with me, so which makes me feel like there's even more people that are like wanting to sprint outside even the ones that I'm already directly working with. It's just, do you guys notice that with your clients, that there seems to be like these sort of like sea changes of vibe?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
Really?
I'm curious, like, I was gonna ask when y'all kind of start thinking about next year, because for me, November is always it. You know, it's not like November just feels like the time when I'm really in like the shifting into the different season. And I feel like a lot of people feel that energy, especially when you're like the tactical, you're having to like report to boards and you're looking into your budget and planning for next budget. But I also think energetically, yeah, it's like before the holidays, I was like, oh my gosh, I just got to get everything together. They're like rush mode.
Yeah, I feel like the year goes through different phases, but not necessarily like predictable phases. And I feel like Q4 is always the most hectic. But I felt that even as a seller, like in most of my jobs, Q4 was when the majority of the revenue came in. I'm curious, with the uptick in meetings, Monica, are those coming inbound through LinkedIn content, or where are people finding you?
Always through LinkedIn, still through LinkedIn. Yeah. I have a bunch of, I have a couple of people that I've now worked with on a few different projects. Like I have a really great RevOps agency that will like, they'll send me people and I send them people if they need RevOps, because we know that we work really well together. But yeah, I would say it's still like 80-90% through LinkedIn for sure.
And Meg, you've been getting crazy leads through LinkedIn lately.
Yes. Well, I was just on the Sell Better show, and it was really fun with Will Aitken. We talked about something very tactical. We talked about how to build and enable a champion. And I think I've had like 7 or 8 meetings from it. But the first one was so special. He was like, you know, when you work on a brand and then you have someone who just plays it back to you completely. And this was like, I was like listening to you on this call, and I just felt like you do something so different. You're so like holistic in your approach. He's like, I'm really looking for someone who really like pairs a little bit of the, like, I need a little bit of like sales therapy as well as the tactics. And I'm like, I'm being like pranked or something, right? Like this man is like, it was like almost like he consumed my content, saw me on a show where I'm talking about myself. He went into my testimonials and he just played all that back to me and was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And that is a really good feeling. So
Because you keep repeating your message.
Yeah.
But to keep saying the same thing over and over again in different ways and on different mediums, and people start to consume it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Melissa, you've had a really exciting launch of your own. Tell us what's happening in your world. Also, I'm obsessed with the company name.
Thank you.
And tell us the story behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, for citrine?
Yeah, the name.
Oh, gosh. So citrine's my favorite stone. When I first started getting into stones, and my best friend Allison, who, you know, was the one who really got me into a lot of this. And in the very beginning, we started finding stones, and every time I would pick up a citrine, we would go to farmer's market, citrine. I'd go to anywhere. I would just find one. And I kept just buying them because I loved them so much. And there was one day where my dad came to visit, and I was like, let me show you my favorite rock shop. And we go in, and he's a landscaper, and he loves rocks. So he's thinking they're all really cool. And I'm like, let me tell you about this one. This is citrine. This is my favorite. And I start telling him about all the things that citrine does. And I especially mentioned that it brings prosperity. And this was a time when I was still a teacher. And he looks at me and goes, you need prosperity. And he picks up the biggest one he could find, and he gets it for me. And I kid you not, it's right over here. I kid you not, if there was a fire in my house, I would grab that rock. It is so important. I always have it near me. And so when I started building a business a few years ago, and I didn't really know like what that looked like, I made the decision that one day I'm going to have a business called Citrine. And it wasn't until it needed to feel right. And I think that Citrine is going right now, it's Citrine creators, and I see Citrine evolving into other things that it can go into. But yeah, it was like, this is time. It's time for this. This feels so right and so aligned. So when I made it Citrine, it was like this, full focus, Yeah.
Wait, and so tell the people
I
though
love
what
that.
we're doing, because it's
Yeah.
a pretty, like, I feel like, Melissa, you're somebody that has genuinely lived multiple lives,
Yeah.
like as a teacher and as a journalist and as a seller and a sales leader, and like now this new evolution of you as a true entrepreneur, which obviously the three of us are deeply excited about. But yeah, tell the people what you're building.
Yeah, and it's funny. I am always transforming. I truly believe I'm just supposed to keep transforming over and over again. And plus, it's fun and change is interesting to me. And I transform all the time. Okay, so what I'm building right now, which is so aligned, which is why it's actually working so well. And it's a little overwhelming because it's going so good that it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to make sure I don't take on too much at once, like I want to make, like, there's like a moment in time where I'm like, okay, there's so much coming to me that I do have to be particular about where I'm putting my effort, because I want to make sure that I do a really good job. And if I say yes to everyone and too much, then I'm not going to be able to do it all. So, which I wasn't expecting at all. But I have launched Citrine Creators, which is a corporate creator talent agency, or think of us as a talent management company. But I really want to focus on new creators because they deserve brand partnerships, and companies are looking for new and upcoming talent, subject matter experts to promote their brands. And so I have two parts of the business. One is the Creator Accelerator, where I look for people that have been posting on LinkedIn, and they're getting good traction, and they're on the right path, but they're not getting brand partnerships, or maybe they have a few, but they don't know how to negotiate their rates. They're really lowballing themselves. They're having difficulty getting higher engagement on their posts, so that way it actually performs. And I'm putting them in a Creator Accelerator program where we get them creator ready and we source brand partnerships for them so they get paid out. And then the talent agency is, of course, people who are generating brand partnerships, and we source really good opportunities for them and brands for them to work on. And, that's what it is. That's all the things.
It's so exciting.
This is so exciting. Like, I just want to give a shout out to Melissa. I had a call with Melissa last week or the week before, and thank you, Jeff. You can still hang out with us even though you don't say y'all, but y'all. I had serious creator imposter syndrome Like I have a little over 20,000 followers now. And I remember when I really started putting a lot of time into LinkedIn about 2 years ago, at that time, 20K was like a pretty big creator number. Like maybe Leslie, I think that's around maybe where you were when I met you. And now it's like, you know, people are getting up into like the 50 to 100 range, like the people that I saw 2 years ago that had like 20 to 30. And so in my mind, right, like the goalposts just keep moving. And I think that I still see myself the same way that I did when I had like 6,000 or 8,000. And I was talking to Melissa and I was like, I don't feel like I'm really doing it. Like I see the number there, but I think like my engagement sucks. And I think like my content's not really that good. And she's like, share your screen, show me your stats. And she's like, girl, you are a creator. Like this is good enough. And I think that just like for those of us that are on this journey, and there are so many people who are creating so much great content on LinkedIn and really putting a lot of work and talent and energy and knowledge and heart and soul and creativity into it. And like the only validation that you get is from your audience. And as we know, that's all extremely inconsistent. And there's good days and there's bad days. And sometimes people are mean and whatever. And it's so valuable, Melissa, to like have someone who is as accomplished and as knowledgeable as you in this area, because this is something that I've admired you for a while, that you're so good at. And like just have like a guide to tell you like, this is what you're doing well, this is what you're not doing well, but like you also like you are good enough to start getting partnerships and you can start asking for money because you're already doing really good work. We just don't get that anywhere.
And not just you can start asking for money, like you should start asking for money because brands
are looking for you.
Correct. Yeah. Brands are looking for you, and especially like one of the big trends going into 2026 is brands continuing to work with micro creators. And I'm talking folks that are like on LinkedIn, that would be like 10K, right? Like not even 20.
6, 5K, 4K, 3K. Like
they want to have bigger creators, like maybe a creator like me, but then they want to have like more of an ecosystem of creators. So they're not only spending with the biggest creators, they're like staggering their spend through different groups of people that might have different levels of engagement and different types of audiences. So it's not even like, oh, you could if you wanted to. It's like, please, you should be leveraging these partnerships to get paid for your work in this amazing community that you built in this like trust and influence that you curated.
Yes, it's so crazy because I mean, when I first got my first brand partnership, I was around like 8K followers, and I was like, I'm an influencer now. I was like, this is me. I immediately believed it. I'm so delusional. That was when I was like, I'm throwing a content house now. Like I was like, I am.
Yeah. It is in fact the Salulu. So I think you were right on the right path.
Yeah. we talk about that a lot. Like Delulu is really the Salulu.
Oh,
it's the only one. What other Salulu is there?
It's okay. I have a question for you, Melissa, because I think like your journey has been so cool. Like when I first started following you, you were an SDR and then an account executive at Deal. And I was just like, wow, this girl is so multifaceted. And then the more I started following you, I was like, she was like a journalist and like on the news, but it's a teacher. And I'm curious if like people ever did kind of question you, or like even if you question yourself, like how do you work through that? Because I think all of us, we've talked about, even the challenges of identity and like stepping into something new, like the fear that's involved with that, and how a lot of people are like, oh, I could never do that. Yeah. Especially being an entrepreneur, people are like, I could never. And you're like, okay, probably not, because if you like don't,
you're like, okay, then don't,
there's no way you can if you don't like have this like delusional desire. So how do you kind of work through that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm just so not afraid to fail. And I'm also not afraid to quit either. I think a lot of people are afraid to quit things and try something new as well. Not afraid to try anything. I'm not afraid to just like tell people what I'm doing, because I think it's important to. At least it has helped me when I tell people. But I have probably been super questioned, to be honest. And what's interesting is, teaching, I came in, I got my master's in it. Like I was like, I am I am confident in this subject matter, but it didn't feel right. So then when I went into journalism, I kid you not, I spent one summer. I was like, okay, I have one summer to get a news reporting job. Otherwise, I have to go back into the classroom. And to get a news reporting job, you have to have what's called oh my god, I'm already forgetting my words, but
You can just make it up. We'll believe you.
Yeah, you just have to have you have to have a video that essentially goes through all of, your stories that you've done. And
like a reel, like a
like a reel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so obviously I didn't have those. So I drove around Tampa with a bunch of shirts in my car, and I just went place to place to place. And I would change my shirt, and I'd be like outside of the Waffle House, and I would tell this story that I just like pre-wrote, just made this shit up. And I went to the Waffle House, and I went to the Cracker Barrel. I don't know why they have locations. I went to the Hard Rock Casino. I drove all around in like 100-degree weather. I was sweating so much. And in one day I made a demo reel, and I edited it, and I sent it out, and I was like, I'm a news reporter. And when so delusional, but
this is like pure ass delusion.
And this is where I started.
But like in the best possible way. This is like star quality material. Like this is, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie Joy with Jennifer Lawrence about the woman who like made millions selling stuff on QVC. The mop person. Yeah. I'm like, if you had become an actress, Melissa, I would cast you to play that character in that movie, because I'm like getting that energy right now.
So it's also like what's necessary. That's how I started getting gigs, is that nobody would give them to me. So I literally started my own company to host events, to make myself a keynote, to build a sizzle reel. Yes. And then people were like, oh, you're really good at this. And I was like, yeah, I know.
I've been trying to tell you guys.
It's giving like Reese Witherspoon with her production company, where she like wasn't able to have there weren't a lot of women roles, especially like leading roles or like a large cast. It was like one woman in the cast. So she's like, I'm just going to start it myself. And I think also just the confidence of sometimes you got to fake it until you make it. But I feel like a lot of people think of I don't know how y'all feel about that term, but I do truly feel, even little things, when I was moving to New York, I heard that a lot of people don't hire people unless you already lived in New York. So I literally just put my friend's address, and I was like, I totally live here. I definitely live in this apartment. And just little things like that, you got to shoot your shot. And I think so many people are afraid to either play by the rules, or oh, I don't qualify. I feel like a lot of people, Melissa, would be like, I don't qualify for this role because I don't have videos. And it's then you gotta make videos. And I think that's it's something that I think a lot of us have put into practice of if it doesn't exist, build it. If you don't have it, figure it out. And that also is such an entrepreneur trait as well. Probably the most critical, just figuring it out.
I don't think that they're
harmful when people give bad advice, when they give advice that they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? When they're like, "Oh, I don't have the answer to this, so I'm going to fake it till you make it." That's when I think it's
just lying. That's actually just lying and making stuff up. I think that faking it is making it. I don't know if you guys have heard about the be, do, have framework. If you want something, right? People focus on how do I get that thing? And then what they don't think about is who do I have to be and what do I have to do to get that thing? So first you become the person that you need to be, which will lead you to do the things that you need to do, the inevitable result of which will be you having the thing that you need to have. And I believe that every time that you see someone where there's a conflict between what they say that they want and what they actually have, that conflict always exists as a conflict of identity, where they don't see themselves as the person who has that thing for whatever reason. Therefore, they will actually like make decisions that prevent them from getting the thing that they want because the value system is misaligned, or like their self-image is misaligned, or the way that they see themselves in relationship to their tribe is misaligned, or something like that. And so I believe that you always have to like change your self-concept first, which there's going to be a moment where it looks like you're faking it until you make it, but you're just like, no. I mean, like emotionally and spiritually, I already live in New York. It's just a matter of me getting an address in New York City, but that's like a technicality. Whatever, we'll figure that out later. So I both love that phrase and also don't love that phrase. I love it because I'm all about it, but I also don't love it because I think it kind of doesn't even really work that way.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Be, do, have.
We'll throw it on a little sticky note, of course.
Oh, nice. That's not my framework. Someone else came up with it, but I can't remember who it is right now. But yeah.
No, you also just described like
Simon Sinek, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. You just described the last year of my life. Like y'all have heard a lot about it, but like I think the identity piece is really tricky. And even, for example, I mean, I know we're all talking from a point of entrepreneurs and like having to reinvent ourselves. Even like Leslie, I know that, you know, even what you just shared was like figuring out how to get other people to see you in that energy. And you're like, I just have to build it. But I mean, we also see it in sales where I see it a lot with women who, no matter how successful they are, they're like, I still feel like I'm afraid to, like, I'm so afraid that other people, you know, like imposter syndrome. And ironically, sometimes with men, it's the opposite, where it's like, they don't worry about that. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to become a top seller. And they like, don't question. Women are like, even when they are a top seller, they're like, I think it's all going to fall apart. Eventually they're going to realize like, I can't sustain this, or I'm not like very good. And it's so hard. Natalie Dawson, Diary of a CEO. Ooh, I got to check that out. But yeah, I think like not a lot of people talk about the identity piece of what we do. And also like Melissa, like you've had so many identity, but Monica, when you start, like, I remember when the first like year of friendship with Monica, it was like every conversation, I was like,
this is so real. I'm like, I'm sorry, you did what that summer?
She's like, oh yeah, back when I'm like, which is the best? Back when I, you know, used to like, plan raves. And I'm like, what? She's like, oh yeah, like back when I was like, how'd you end up in Mexico? She's like, oh yeah, I like went to school in Mexico City. Literally. There's so many. And what do you think about identity?
Like the people that this group of women surround themselves with, and you can see it in like the chat of the people that have showed up to this conversation.
Yeah,
they are multi-dimensional people in the best possible way. Like they have taken chances on themselves. They have, like Melissa, have tried things and have been willing to fail at them. Have been willing to say like, oh, that actually isn't for me. So I tried it, but I'm going to try something else. And then as a result, they've like, I think allowed for like this evolution into becoming their favorite version of themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, who was a roadie for Paramore?
I think that might be Nikki Ivy. Let me see.
I can only see LinkedIn user here, and I really want to know.
Oh my God, I love that. So, and also Melissa, it's so funny because, of course, like so many of them are like, oh, if only we could talk about all of the things from our lives. But, some things we like to keep off of LinkedIn. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, you really share
stay in the WhatsApp group. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh my gosh, y'all share so much on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, you don't even know.
No.
You don't even know. Like,
don't even know. I feel like that's one of like the most common questions I get asked too is like, how do you be authentic on LinkedIn without oversharing? And I'm like, because like I don't think that just because I post on social media that group, that audience like deserves every part of me. Like I'm allowed to hold things back and still be authentic and true. So it's like an interesting dichotomy.
How do you think about that, Melissa? Because I feel like your content is so personal.
Is it?
I think.
I think it's just very funny. So
I feel like I know you kind of through your content.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And you might be like, that's not me.
I share enough, but it's also like, and it's not that I'm really not a super private person, to be honest. Like if we were to go to dinner and if you were to ask me like not my deepest, darkest secrets, but like kind of maybe I'll tell you, like I'm pretty open about things. But it's also why I like LinkedIn, because LinkedIn isn't like, you know what it is? I don't want to be, and this might sound crazy because I'm in content and on LinkedIn. I don't want to be stuck to my phone social mediaing all day long. I don't want to take pictures of my brunch. I don't want to like tell everyone what my coffee order is. Like I don't want to do that. Which is also why I like LinkedIn, because I could really just only post once a day. And you know, it doesn't have to be all day long. Like when I think about influencers on that are more like lifestyle content, like to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like all day you're just walking us through your life, which it could be entertaining, but that to me, that is draining. Like that is too much for me. But I'd rather just tell you about it. I'd rather us hop on the call and like, let's chit chat about our day. I don't really want to like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, I feel like
I get it, because it's like you can't be present in the moment if you feel like you have to constantly document every moment. I went to a creator event in Chicago, my first one I've ever been invited to, like for creators. Like it was very cool. But it was B2C, and like almost all of the creators there predominantly created on Instagram and then some also on Facebook. And it was a lot of like outfit of the day. Here's the thing I'm making. Here's the stuff I have in my house. Here's my child. And I am with you that I'm just like, that would feel like the mental load of creating, or like the emotional toll of having to constantly show people the inner workings of my life.
Yeah.
That would be really tough for me as well. But like for them, they were like, this is amazing. Like for many of them, it's a side business, or a lot of them are stay-at-home moms. So it's like this incredible opportunity for them to still like have a business and still be independent and making money and get to prioritize like the motherhood experience. So it's like, clearly it scratches an itch for a lot of people, but
and maybe they're just like pure Leos without all of Monica's Scorpio, you know? Because I'm just like, also, it's just so much work. And personally, I feel like we have to be so on, even by the end of the day. Like Leslie and I had our little monthly catch up yesterday, and she's like, I'm taking a walk. And I was like, I'm going to be like laying in bed. We are not going to be like video on. And, you know, we have to be so on. And I'm like, when I'm like walking outside and I'm like, I don't want to be, I remember Colin, our content coach, asked me, he's like, hey, I want to get you like a mobile, like, what do you call it? Mobile thing for your phone. You could like bring it out and like, you could like do videos. I was like, I don't know how to say this to you, but that sounds like my version of hell. Like and that's the hard thing as well, is like finding, even for your business, like finding what feels good, and also being able to say no, almost like Melissa, what you said earlier, like almost like the micro quitting, where like you can do so much, and figuring out like what just feels really misaligned, and like being able to say, no, I don't want to do that. And figuring out what does work.
Because I think go on.
Oh, no, say what you're going to say.
I was going to say, like, it's interesting because I'm just so not connected to my phone, especially when I'm not working.
Yeah.
But I'm very specific about like, okay, if I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, then I need to get B-roll for it. Like, I'm like, okay, I got to get, like, for Leslie's event, I was like, okay, let me get B-roll for this event. And I'm pretty sure I spent like 5 minutes getting B-roll. And then it was like back to the conversation, like phone away. Like I want to be present with people. And it's the same thing with when the hardest, honestly, the day in the life videos are like the toughest, because it's like you have to keep moving the camera around. And I'm like, oh my God, like, look at my giant thing of laundry over there. Let me shove that in the corner. So like, that's just bad. You know, like, although it does force me to clean up as well, which does help that side of it. But
I also don't really like people to know what the inside of my house looks like, which maybe that's just like a weird me
Totally
thing.
fair point. Yeah.
This is my personal like this is my sanctuary. Get your eyes out of here.
yeah.
I'm like the opposite with this room. And I think maybe some people assume this is my bedroom. This is like my office. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to look at, like, see my cat. Like, my cat's napping. But then, like, it's so funny because I have super strict boundaries with certain things. I feel like all of us have those weird little things that just feel really, like, personal. And so I remember actually during one of our sales witches retreats as well, we went to this incredible restaurant, and we're having a very, very open conversation about something, like, between the three of us girls. And then this man asked me a question. He's like, oh, are you into this? And I was like, I do not want to talk to you about that. And Monica was like, Meg,
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I vividly remember it.
you're like, what are you talking
You were
about?
kind
Like,
of mean to him.
But I was
Context here. This was like a big shared group table.
it was like a
this really
family
nice-
style
It
table.
was it was a family style table. It was this really nice experience that we did in the forest, and there was another group there, and so we're all sitting at the same table together, and we were like talking to this guy. Like, we were already chatting with him. This wasn't the first interaction that we had had with him, and we're like,
And
it
then
was
he just
like a
innocently
night.
asked
This
me.
this is like it's like a 5-course lunch that has drink pairings, and we were on like course 3.5. We had already had a really nice day and gone foraging, so we're like a little toasty in the afternoon, and we're like talking really loud. And this guy, I think, as any reasonable human would, was like, oh, let me double click. Let me ask you a second level question about this thing that you guys are openly talking about in front of me. And Meg was like, how dare you? You know,
Okay,
and
I didn't
think
say
that
how
that's-
dare you, but my tone said,
everything about your
how
energy and
dare
tone said, how dare you? And
But
like,
honestly,
you get away
yeah.
from me. But I think it's like, I think we probably
We all have
had
our
this
little
experience.
things. Yeah.
It like online, right? Because it's like sometimes it feels like your cozy little space, and it's like, you know, my brother's on LinkedIn, and it's just my brother and I talking in the comments all day long, and it just feels like another group chat. But then you're actually in public, and like, you know, I've definitely had like times where I'm like, wow, I feel actually way more exposed than I was planning to. And I think it's just a weird thing that we all kind of have to navigate.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out like one single answer for that. I don't know if you've thought about that, Melissa.
In which way? Like,
I feel like the comments is a perfect example. We'll all start having a conversation in the comments, and I will forget that the comments are shipped to like the entire news feed, and I might say something that's like maybe a joke about like something I did at a fish show,
Like
and
an
then
inside joke. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I wouldn't post that as a post, so I shouldn't have said it in a comment.
But I think overall it's how to find your level of comfort. And it is back to this idea of like, what do you share? What do you not share? And also, like, even Jeff is like, how do you keep focus on your day job?
I think that's an interesting question.
I wanted to answer that question too. I saw that post a couple minutes ago. Like, I consider this part of my day job.
I think it's my job.
Like,
I wouldn't be posting as much if it weren't my job.
This is my job. Like, and I made a pretty conscious decision 2 years ago that I've done consulting before in different capacities, and I made a really conscious decision that I want to build a really great consulting business where I don't get burnt out delivering client work, where I'm able to deliver really good work for my clients, where I'm working with the clients that I can serve the best, and where I get to learn on every engagement too, and I work with people that I like. And I want to build a scalable business without hiring a ton of people. And so for me, like, there's really only one path, which is content. and to create a really big audience around what I do, because I, I'm not building this as like I think there's a lot of people that would consider what they do, they're more like a, I don't know, fractional exec or whatever. And they're like, yeah, I'll take on a couple clients in between gigs and then maybe I'll go back in somewhere full time, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm doing here. And so for me, it was just very clear. I'm like, I have to do this and I have to get really good at it. And I've invested a ton of hours and a lot of money and a lot of failed experiments into just not only figuring out like what works in terms of content, but also becoming the person that does this. And I think that there are that's just my own story about my own job, but I think that there are very few jobs right now where this would not be considered part of your job if you're serious about your career. And I totally understand that there are a lot of people out there that are like, you know what, Monica, I have a job. I really like it. I like what I do. I care about my work. I take my work seriously. But for me, this is a means to an end. This is a means to be able to support myself so that outside of work, I can do the things that I'm truly passionate about. And if that's the case, then I'm like, cool, don't build a personal brand, or build a personal brand about the things that you're doing outside of work, if that's what you feel called to do. But I think that for everybody on this call, we would probably say like, this is our job.
Yeah.
But we're also business owners. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all,
before I was an entrepreneur.
but wait, I have a weird
Poshmark.
deal because I feel like, some people do ask me, they're like, oh, like, why do you post? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I own a business. And they're like, oh, well, like, I don't, like, why should I post? And I was like, I can't answer that for you.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. But also some people are like, oh, I just like posting. I was like, good for you. I actually don't.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing this, I would literally never post. I would just live my life. But it is interesting because a lot of people like that I work with are the people who are thinking about, like one of my clients he wrote a book maybe 2 years ago. He's already working on his second one. And so even for him, like he is thinking like 3 years ahead. He's like, this is, I'm figuring out what I want to do after enterprise sales. And maybe that's leadership, maybe that's this, but honestly, like even building a brand, building a community, building an audience, building really your network is so valuable for so many people. And I think there are some situations where I was like, I can't answer that question for you, but Melissa's a great example of that, right? You started posting when you're an SDR and that was like not very common. Do you ever have people who are like, why are you spending so much time on this? Like, get back to your job.
It's crazy. Maybe, I don't really know, to be honest, because the thing is that like, if you're in a full-time role and you're posting on LinkedIn, then you need to really make sure that you're doing your job really well, because there's extra eyes on you all the time. Like all the time. So you can't give them an excuse to be like, oh, you're posting on LinkedIn, like blah, blah, blah. Like you just have to really make sure that you're delivering what you're delivering. But the other side of it is that when you are posting on LinkedIn, especially if it's about your career, and for me in the beginning, when I was an SDR, I was talking a lot about outbound messaging and video messaging and things like that. So if I'm going to be telling people about this, I need to be amazing at this. If I'm going to be talking about asynchronous selling and like selling globally, then I need to be amazing at selling globally. And because if you're not, then that's when imposter syndrome isn't good. I'm cool with imposter syndrome. I love feeling like an imposter, like all the time. It's a good thing. It means I'm transforming. It means that I'm working on myself. But there's good imposter syndrome of like, I'm going for my dreams and I'm going to make this happen. And like, oh,
like I'm a fraud.
I'm a fraud. Yeah. And and you can.
It's almost like being okay, being a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah. I saw like if you're a funny comment or like a couple months ago, I think it might've been Obaid's, but he was like, what's wrong? You don't seem to be eating and like, you're not hungry for the thought leadership. You're feeding everybody else. And I like cackled at it because
Wait,
there's
what?
I don't think I understand that.
I don't understand.
It was something I'll find the comment. I don't know, Monica, if you saw it, but it was like what's wrong, honey? You're not hungry for the thought leadership that you're feeding everybody else, because there are so many people that post content and they are talking about shit that they are not doing in their job, that they are like not good at doing in their job.
Yeah.
One person always comes to mind who
I think we all have one person who always
Yeah,
comes
I
to
was
mind.
like, I'm sure.
I'm like, are we thinking about the same person? Say the name. 1, 2, 3.
like, right? Like fired from 2 jobs, and then they're still out there posting content, like giving other sellers advice on how to do sales. And like to your point, Melissa, I think there's such a big difference between like, hey, I'm a seller in this role, and I'm talking about like how I worked this deal and what the outcome was and what I learned from it and what I'm going to keep doing or I might do differently next time, or like, here's this new thing I'm testing, I'll let you know how it goes, versus like being the best person that's ever done this, and just don't even pay attention to the fact that I left my last 2 roles at 8 months each. Just trust me and do this advice.
Yeah. You know, it's really crazy too how like there are actually fewer costs for that for some creators than others. Like I posted last week or the week before, it was like a slightly different format of post that was about a deal that I actually had as a seller where I made a mistake. And I've posted like positive versions of that post before that are like case studies, like here's how I closed the biggest deal in my company's history. This one, I think, got more engagement, but there were also a lot of people that came in on the comments and were just like, you suck, you're dumb, like you're bad at your job. Wow, what a stupid post about someone who made a mistake. Like,
or like humble brag, like, wow, you're so humble. And I was like, wow, people are.
It was just like, and I know that I'm really good at what I do. I have a lot of evidence of it every day. And like, I'm very confident in myself and I don't care about what somebody who has never met me before says in my comments on LinkedIn. But I can imagine for like someone who's earlier in their career or someone who is a younger creator, that can go one of 2 ways. Like it could probably make you stronger, or it could be like,
yeah, you
I'm
idiot.
never doing that again, you know?
But I think it's almost those are people who probably really want the stories of like, here's how I became this at like 26 years old. And like, you know, I wake up every day at 4 a.m. and and I'm perfect and I eat perfectly and And like, I feel like it's just like the projection of like insecurity as well, or like, it's so interesting to see how people relate to vulnerability. But yeah, I think it works really well. One of my clients, Melissa, you might know, Lauren Sharp, she's at Deal. If you're not connected, she's just got promoted to account executive, and she's doing this amazing series, like day 1 in the life of becoming the account executive I would be jealous of.
Yeah.
Nice.
It is so cool.
It is really
That's
cool.
really good.
And I talked to a lot of creators, especially ones that are really new and starting off and things like that. And there's 2 things that I usually tell people. Like, one is when I was in news, people are real mean. Like, I'll tell you that. They're like, your nose is bigger than I thought it was. I was like, like, okay, like, thanks. But I remember at first I was really upset by like, they were like, your eyebrows move too much. Like things that I literally can't do. Like, and I'm not going to change. Like this is just I'm sorry. But when I was leaving news, the reason why it was so difficult for me to leave was because I was so afraid of what people would say, because I made this whole big ordeal. I'm leaving teaching. I'm moving to Texas. I'm going to be on the news. All this stuff. I did it. And then I had it. And I was so miserable and not happy with my life that when it was time for me to make a change. And so my news mentor at the time called me up and was like, Melissa, I don't know who you think you are, but nobody really cares. And I was like, I needed to hear that, even though it was tough words. In a very nice way, she said that. Oh, it was. But I was like, you're right. Who gives a shit? Like, who am I? Like, why do I think that everyone is looking so deep and close into my life that they need to see all the little details and that they're going to think about how I was a failure? Like, who gives a shit?
No one's thinking about you.
About that. And then the other thing, what I tell people is whenever those commenters come in or the Reddit threads or whatever it may be, because I've read Reddit before and I was sad about it once. And then I got over it. And now it's not so much a thing. It really doesn't bother me at all.
You're on LinkedIn Lunatics. It's like my goal.
Is it?
I like really I would love to do it. I would love to get on LinkedIn Lunatics.
No,
so
I'm like
terrified.
terrified. I took Reddit off of my phone because I was like, I don't even want to have the temptation to check like the R sales and the like our LinkedIn Lunatics thread because I don't like it when people are mean.
I don't either, but you know what?
Oh, I
They're
think it's
there. And like, who cares? Like, they're not getting
It's
the
a weird hobby for
It is a
people
weird hobby.
to spend their time saying nasty things about strangers on the internet. And it always is people, I shouldn't say always, I found with my own content, like platform agnostic, that 90% of the time it is people that don't have the courage or the knowledge to make content themselves.
Yeah.
Or to also recognize sarcasm. Either a lot of those posts, I'm like, dude, this is actually a satirical post making fun of something else, and like you didn't catch that. I'm kind of disappointed in the best of LinkedIn on Instagram, but I also think it's like I like it because I think it's actually a like sociological study of there's just such extremists, like such extreme posts on that, but the hatred that people post when they like the wildest part on LinkedIn is when they post it and I'm like that's your like real name and that's like your job connected to this profile.
That's why I said they could get away with it or wherever it is. And when I did a post when I got laid off from my job and I was officially starting my entrepreneur and I ain't gonna lie, I was very happy. I was very, very, very happy. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah.
It was the best day of my life when I started my business on day one. I have been journaling about it. Like the day that I walk into this office and it's mine, I talk to my rock portals on the wall, my day is coming, etc. And when I made that post and it ended up on Reddit, I wasn't looking at it, but a couple people DM'd it to me and they're like, just so you know. And I was like, oh shit. And I wasn't going to do it. And then I read it and I started laughing as I was going through, but there was this one in particular where someone was like, oh my God, I know her. We went to high school together. So then I went in this rabbit hole to be like, who is this redheaded girl? And I went digging and I don't know why I did this, but I went digging and digging. I went on Facebook. I went into their seniors 2012 info group because I was vice president, so I had the keys. And I
didn't recognize her
to figure out who it is. And I figure it out, and I go, oh my gosh! Not once did I ever talk to this girl. And you know what? I know I wasn't mean because I was a nice girl in high school, very nice girl, and I was very like, oh, okay, so. Would I have cared about what she said about me in high school? No.
Yeah.
So why am I thinking that now?
That's a good point. I think the only time it's been very helpful for me is when stuff is showing up on Twitter and I can see who's commenting, and it has multiple times been people who have asked for my help on LinkedIn. And then they are the same people that are talking shit about me on Twitter. Ooh, screenshot taken, noted, like, you're dead to me. I will never help you again. And I will also now always send a screenshot of you saying disgusting things about women's bodies to anybody that asks me my opinion of you. So like,
wow.
I feel like pick one. Like if you're going to be a mean person, you just be mean.
Yeah, be mean publicly. You can have a podcast. There are a lot of people that do that.
They don't charge a fee for microphones.
They don't. It's just the $200 for the microphone, and that's it. I think that like the way that I think about this is like if you are seeking to be perceived, you have to be okay with being misunderstood.
Yeah,
I don't think that you get to ask how everyone will perceive you. All you can do is you can be asked, I want a platform. I want recognition. I want to be perceived on a greater level. You cannot like specify that all of those people are going to unconditionally love you. So when I see those, like when I get those signs, like when I get a bunch of trolls on my post or whatever it is, I'm like, great. That is like the tip of the iceberg of the greater recognition that I'm getting. And this is how I know, because I'm getting more of these little symptoms of like, because the 98% of people will just see you and they'll be like, Meg's so smart, Leslie's so smart, Melissa's so cool, and they'll never tell you that. It's like when you try to find a nail salon and all the reviews are bad, because who the fuck goes on Google to review a nail salon? Someone who was pissed off. Like they're like, no one's ever going to be like, you know, like Christine.
Unless I have like a discount
nice.
or something, and then I'm 100% posting a review.
Yeah.
That's the only time I do. Yeah, but that's a good point.
There's a very specific example, but you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, great.
Like you don't get to choose how people perceive you. You get to choose how you show up.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I could love that.
And I'm
just realizing that like a lot of times it doesn't have to do with you. When I'm like, oh, this person's like really upset. I actually had this post about like 15 ways to handle trolls, and one of them is just like asking them if they like need a cookie. Like, oh, like do you need a cookie? Like, it seems like you're having a bad day. Someone literally was like, actually, thank you. I am having a bad day.
Aww.
And I was like, wow, you know, some people are just having a bad day and they just need a little emoji cookie, you know? But it, like, I think that I've struggled a lot in like, especially getting weird DMs and things. And now I just, I saw this post that was like, I'm, you know, petition to rename blocking to banishing. And now I'm like, yep, I just, you know, I feel bad. I feel weird about this energy. I'm just going to banish that energy from my
like you're banished, but maybe we say it with like a rolling R. So every time we block somebody, it's like, you're banished.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Really and I feel like they need like a little, like, we need like a sound effect where it's like it like poofs out, you know, like in a blast of fire. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm very here for this. Okay, we are almost done, and I want to, as always, take a little bit of time to do celebrations.
Ooh.
Monica, you want to get us started?
Oh man. Yeah. So this week I got to go and spend some time with a friend of mine for her work trip in Florida. And it just gave me the opportunity to kind of reflect and celebrate that I have created a life and a business where I can still balance everything that I need to get done for my clients, and then be able to log off at the end of the day and spend some quality time with one of my friends that I really don't get to see a lot. In Florida at the yacht club, and we had a great time.
Nice.
Fine.
Yeah, this was a dream for me 2 years ago. When, I mean, you guys know, I was just like goblining in my office, like literally, you know, people are like, hey, do you want it? I'm like, no, I have to work. So it actually felt really scary. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to work remotely for 3 days. Like, how is this going to happen? But it was really great. And it was just really nice to like get that time with her that I cherish.
Oh, that's such a good one. That feels very healing. Like that gives great vibes. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Melissa, what about you? I mean, I guess you're big. We know you've launched a business.
Yeah. I keep forgetting that we're live, to be honest.
We were text messaging. The girls did it too before the very first time. They kept on trying to set an agenda, and I was like,
she forced us to not. Yeah, we had like 15 topics to discuss, and Leslie mixed it.
I made like bullet points, and Leslie was like, "Ew, no."
Just let it flow. Just let it flow. Yeah, the business has been the biggest dream come true. And this month, I really feel as though that I found the alignment that I needed. because first 90 days, it was definitely like sell, survive, see what you can do, what can we figure out. And it took like definitely the month of September to do an accept, because in August it was like sell everything. September and October, it was like, okay, well, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? And you have to try those things to figure out what you don't like, because I learned quickly that I didn't like those things. But yeah, no, I'm just really happy about all of it. So sorry, my husband's calling me a bunch of times.
Oh, geez. Well, we're really happy for you, and we're really grateful that you were able to take the time to join us so that we could help celebrate alongside of you, because it's a really big deal, and you're going to do really important things. So, yay.
And I
Yay.
feel like it's so interesting because as a business owner, you have so much control. I feel like there's like so many identity shifts that happen inside of being an entrepreneur. So I'm really excited to see the snake shedding the skin and what that looks like for you.
What about you, Meg? What's your celebration for the month?
I don't know. I mean, I got engaged, so yes. Like, well, my ring is moonstone, which is my favorite crystal. So yeah, I got engaged at a music festival, my favorite, which was super special. And I'm launching a new offering, which is a team event. It's I bought an Aura camera, and so I'm doing energy readings for people. So it's basically like a visual personality test, but it's really more about your biometric data. So it's like witchy woo-woo meets peak performance, and is way more fun at a conference than like yet another swag offering or like just yet another happy hour. And it's been a dream for 5 years, as y'all know. So it's really exciting.
Yes,
So
nobody needs another like mouse pad and ill-fitting sweater with an ugly brand on it. Everybody needs to know what color their aura is. In my humble.
Yeah. Like walking away, like I have 2 of mine on my wall from like literally the last 6 years. So really exciting. And Leslie, what about you? You just had a book signing.
I did. I got to see Melissa IRL, which was so incredible. And it was I was sharing this with you in the WhatsApp text, that it was this extraordinarily special moment, reuniting with people that attended the very first masterclass I ever hosted, when I, out of spite, created a second company to start hosting events to platform myself. It was in Tampa. It was with Nikki Ivy, who's been in our chat today. I don't know if she's still online, but shout out to Nikki Ivy. And you know, these people bet on me when I was really new in my entrepreneurship journey. You know, when I had only been like, I'd not been posting that long. I had like 20,000 followers. I'd only been like a year out of corporate. And all of these people still showed up and, you know, bought a $400 ticket, spent a day out of the office with me. A lot of them had to take the day off to show up to this event, and then to talk with them on Tuesday night at the book signing and hear my journey over the last 2+ years reflected back to me through their eyes. It was really special and like really validating. Yeah, because like your earlier point, Monica, we do share so much knowledge, but we don't often get the feedback of how that knowledge has impacted non-clients. So that it was super, super special and super powerful. And then Melissa and I made it unhinged TikTok that I posted to LinkedIn.
Love that.
What's so crazy
So
is
good.
that Tampa event, I went to it, and I remember going to it being like, oh my God, she's my hero. This is literally the coolest. Like, I was like, this is my future. I want this. And I was like, it's going to take me 10 years to get it. But this, like, so it's so crazy that you're saying that was early in your journey. Because to me, it was like the most established and like you were like a celebrity. Now you're my friend, but like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
But it's like Monica even made the point earlier in our conversation that it's like, oh, you know, like when we met, I had 20,000 followers and you had 10 and you were like 20,000's the goal. Like when I did that, I had 20,000 followers and all of the people that I was modeling myself on had 50,000. And I was like, oh, I'm such small potatoes.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started. But like, you never know who's finding your work and finding your words and finding your knowledge and how it's impacting them, even if it doesn't always show up in leads and likes, whatever. Like the work that you're putting out into the world is making a positive impact.
That's right.
It really is.
We'll see you ladies next month.
Yes, Melissa, it was
Thanks,
so good
guys.
to see you. Have you
So good
joined?
yeah, thanks, Melissa. It's really good hanging
Come to
out.
our witches retreat in February, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Bye, team.
Bye, guys.